Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery back with us tonight. So too is Ambassador Mark Wallace, CEO of United Against Nuclear Iran. Admiral, Ambassador, thank you both for being with us. Admiral, let me start with you because I thought it was revealing that the president said today basically 80% of their missile capacity is gone. And after the Secretary of State laid that out for us yesterday, what do you believe Iran's capabilities are tonight, given the fact that there's this one-sheeter going back and forth?
Well, thank you for having me. I agree with Secretary Rubio that we've removed their shield, so to speak, that they could build behind, but they still have a capability to impose cost on their neighbors, whether it's with long-range missiles or drones. They can still impact their Arab neighbors who are our partners, or Israel, who's also our ally. So they still have a capability and capacity to impose cost. I'm surprised that our negotiations haven't dealt with their long-range ballistic missile capability over time. That was always a complaint that the Trump administration previously had with the JCPOA, the Obama administration agreement.
Is this a case, Ambassador, of less is more, or a one-sheeter suggests that there's a long way to go?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be on with both of you and, of course, the Admiral. Look, I think there's been a bit of confusion about the simplistic deal versus the complex deal of President Obama's JCPOA. I think you have two levels of these negotiations, really the political level of really the overarching principles that guide a nuclear deal, and then the technical aspects that would fulfill that deal. Look, if you agree to some form of enrichment, the technical aspects of a nuclear agreement are very arcane and the inspections are very intensive. If there's no enrichment, those technical aspects are far more limited. And really, it's the political overlay that must lead to any, if any, technical discussions. And
so basically you're saying to get to the fine print, that's the devil's in the details, I guess.
Correct. I mean, during the negotiations of the JCPOA, Secretary Kerry early on said that Iran could have an enrichment program. That spawned very technical negotiations of what the constraints and size and proportions of that enrichment program were. And that was highly technical with energy, nuclear experts, and otherwise. A political deal of saying no enrichment, no funding of proxies, no barriers to the Strait of Hormuz. I'm giving you the rainbows and unicorn.
Okay.
Proposal would be quite simple and could be accomplished in a deal. But look, Iran is trying to buy time here and to allow their economy to survive. They are in survival mode. That regime is in its death throes. The question is when it dies.
So as you describe it, as when the regime dies and trying to buy time, Admiral, here was the president today. It was the very last question he was asked, but it was about the possibility of a deadline. Here he was.
Never a deadline. It'll happen. It'll happen, but never a deadline.
Never a deadline, he says. What do you make of those comments and sort of what it means for us here in the upcoming weeks, maybe months?
Well, President Trump said lots of deadlines, but I actually agree with him in his intent there. Look, we're in the strong position here. Our blockade is preventing them from getting $15 to $17 billion a month. 90 to 95% of their exports are blocked by our Navy and our military's blockade. And in fact, we've gone down and seized a few of the ships that went through prior to the blockade, taking $250 million off the table each time we do it. If we keep this up, we will eventually break their economy. They do not have another asset, and they'll do long-term damage to the fields. I know it's an arcane topic about fracking and how you reopen these fields, but in shutting them down, they'll do damage. So they are the ones in the weaker position. The president's right, no deadline.
Real quick, on the issue of possibly, will Iran get some of its funds back? Here's what the president said a couple weeks ago.
No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. Iran will be... And you know how we're going to get the dust, right? Iran, we were going to take it anyway. But taking it that way is slightly more dangerous.
Real quick, Admiral and Ambassador. Admiral, I'll start with you. If we unfreeze their funds, does that count as money exchanging hands?
Yeah, I'd rather just, it does, and I think I would rather do sanctions relief, which which he did not dismiss.
Ambassador?
Look, time is on our side. I think
Okay.
the president, with all the partisan sniping back and forth, you have to give credit to the president. He has shifted the delay tactic onto the Iranians. The longer this goes, the more pain on the Iranians. And I think whatever the deal would be, I would have no problem transferring monies to a free and open Iran with a great Iranian people that were integrated into the global economy. But
All right.
regrettably, 2 to 3 million of the IRGC control those 7 other million people and have them under oppression.
Admiral Montgomery, Ambassador Wallace, always nice to see you both. Thanks for the perspective tonight on a story that is moving. Appreciate it.